Hi, I'm Shahir, and welcome back to another episode of Radio Silence. As you know, I'm making these podcasts because I have absolutely nothing else to do. But to be honest with you, I had mixed feelings when I was recording this specific episode. Because when I started this podcast, I wanted to talk about the bigger things in life. I wanted to talk about our mutual beneficial interests. I wanted to educate people. But the heart wants what it wants, and the consumers want something millennial. So here is today's topic, and we're going to talk about iPhone versus Android. So in this debate, I'm going to be considering both hardware and software that is presented by these two entities, and there are various factors that I have classified in order that we may point by point discuss which of these two entities is better at delivering its services. Let's start with keyboards. Now, when Steve Jobs introduced the original iPhone in 2007, it was a huge innovation over phones of that time. And in a large part, it was also because of the keyboard he introduced, a digital keyboard that was embedded within the software of the mobile. It was unheard of. But I have to say, over time, it seems as if Google has outshone Apple in its own innovation. And one very simple thing to signify this is that Apple's keyboards don't have punctuations on the same screen, as this has been such a big problem for such a long time, and they have still not revised it, and still they don't have punctuations on the same screen. And if you remember, till recently, capital letters were a huge issue on keyboards as well. Your letters were set as capital as default, right? And you had to go and you had to manually change them to lowercase, and that was simply annoying. They've got that right, but still no punctuations. So Android wins this round. Now let's talk about music. Music is a huge industry, and you want your experience of getting music to be quick and seamless, and you also want it to be free, right? In Pakistan, we don't like pay barriers. We don't like having to pay for the most minor of services. So if you're an Apple user, that's going to be a huge problem because you'll have to pay for your iTunes subscription. However, again, Android comes to the rescue. If you're using Google Play Music, then you can listen to your favorite tunes for free because the entire platform is ad supported, so you won't have to pay anything. And I think that makes a huge difference in a country like Pakistan. Right. So we're done with music. Now let's talk about the apps, specifically podcasts, because the format I've chosen for my mode of conversation is also a podcast, and I love podcasts. I've listened to all of them. I listened to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, Reply All, Pod Save America, the Ears edition of The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, and I absolutely love podcasts. Started with Serial and still going strong. But podcasts had a huge footprint in the Apple industry. 60% of all podcast views were through Apple. And that was because Google did not have a good podcast platform. It was pathetic what they had. But they have completely revamped it. And now, if you want to watch podcasts on Google, it's going to be a smooth, seamless experience. You can go onto a very dedicated platform called Google Platforms and Google Podcasts. And over there, you can stream your favorite podcast. You don't need to download it. This was a huge problem with the initial Google offering, that you had to download whatever you wanted to listen. Now you simply click it. It's very fast, very easy, and very simple. And whenever you leave your podcast, if you leave it midway between, it records it, so you can continue from where you left. So in my opinion, Google wins podcasts as well. And along with podcasts, another very important thing, and I think this one has much more resonance with the masses, is gaming. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but gaming is huge. The gaming industry is worth $130 billion. And mobile gaming has become the elephant in the room. Let us talk about other handheld gaming platforms. Let's talk about the Wii U and the PlayStation Vita. So when Nintendo and Sony released these two handheld devices, both of them were revolutionary. They had amazing graphics and they had great speeds and great lineups of games, but they both failed. And the reason they failed was that gaming had moved towards mobiles. It had moved towards MMO style gaming, online gaming on mobiles. And so in this regard, a gaming mobile has also become a very dedicated market. Now, if you're going to use Apple, you're going to have to adjust to your offering, whatever they give you. You're going to have to adjust to it. But because of the hardware variety that Android offers, you can completely get your complete. You can get a completely refined, tailored experience for your gaming. I'd recommend the Xiaomi Black Shark 3 Pro, and it's a brilliant device, right? So the cost comparison can also be made over here. The iPhone SE, which is the cheapest offering that Apple is giving this year, it costs uh, it costs 1,50,000 rupees, right? Because you import it, and that is the exact price for the Game Shark 3 Pro. But with the Game Shark 3 Pro, you also get side controllers. If you have seen the Nintendo Switch, then you get two controllers like that. And you also get a docking port. So that means you can connect your mobile to your television, and you can actually play your video games on your television, and you get a controller as well. All these things within the price bracket of an iPhone SE. Therefore, in terms of gaming, I think that Android has no comparison, right? Now let's move towards the cost point. Now, cost is, I think, very important. I think it's a defining factor. You may compromise on quality in the third world, but you can't compromise on your cost point. You need to make it affordable for the public. And if you talk about affordability, just go out to your closest mobile center and you can get your Android phone for 10,000 rupees. Go and get a Lenovo for 10,000 rupees. But if you want the iPhone, then you'll have to import it via Airlink, and it's going to cost you a cumulative of 1,50,000 rupees. So if you're a miser, then I don't think you're going to go for an Apple mobile. Along with that, you may be thinking I'm not doing justice to iPhones, and I will have to concede some points. The camera quality of the iPhone has always been much superior, and their image stabilization, no one can replicate it. Obviously, it's patented, and it has completely made Apple the market leader in camera mobiles. However, if you tune into the last Apple presentation last September, then you will find that Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, he spent 30% of his entire presentation talking about the camera. That's all they have going. iPhone was a revolutionary company when it came out, and their handsets were doing so well because they were completely breaking boundaries. But now it seems like they have peaked, and now they're just going and they're trying to make the camera sharper and sharper, and they're trying to make it better. But it seems that the cost has been that the rest of the mobile has stagnated, and this is at a point where Samsung is experimenting with gesture motions, and Huawei is doing some very interesting things, and obviously Xiaomi is making huge strides in India and Pakistan, and Techno has become the market leader in Pakistan as well. So at this point in time, it seems that iPhones have simply paled. Now that was an objective approach to the hardware and the software of these two companies. But we are yet to talk about the third world approach to this matter, right? Now, if you live in the third world, if you live in Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, then you'll find out that most things, they don't work here. And that's a pity. I really wanted to watch some shows on Hulu, but Hulu doesn't operate in Pakistan, sadly. So you're going to be left with a much more limited sort of offering that you may be getting. And the whole purpose of getting a premium device is that you can get the entire experience. When you're going to live in the third world, that is not going to be a possibility. So I think you should compromise on the cost point of a mobile, because when you're in the third world, you're obviously not going to get all the features. So maybe you can save some money on the side as well. Along with that, Apple also does not have a market presence in Pakistan, so all handsets are imported via Airlink, and the export costs just add up to the device that you're purchasing. On the other hand, Huawei, Xiaomi, Techno, all these companies have a huge footprint in Pakistan, and you may just be better off. And if you're looking for a very affordable option, then obviously there's always going to be the Android-based Q Mobile out there. You can get that. Now, all of this has been said, but I think there is a underlying point that needs to be discussed. Who is the main market for the iPhone in Pakistan? The people I have met who are using iPhone are just snobbery wannabes. They're the people who saw someone use the iPhone on Netflix or in a movie, and now they just want to replicate it. They have this desire to be part of something bigger than themselves, and now they want to get that device because it gives them the sense of belonging that they so desperately want. I don't want to be associated with such people, and I think neither do you. So I'd be very happy getting, a completely unknown Android mobile, checking it out, and instead of the hugely jet dissected iPhone, which has a million videos online about its various features and what's the coolest wallpaper on an iPhone, and how do you get the best image out of an iPhone. Instead of that, a handset that I can discover for myself. I just prefer that. So, guys, with that, I bring this episode to an end. Huge thanks to Bilal Arshad and Ravenclaw for making it possible. And let me know what you think of it. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.